Have you ever needed to be really bold? Or come into a situation where you had to stand up for yourself but didn't know how? This week's podcast comes from a live training that Britt and I did on how to be courageous.
Hey, we're Britt and Chris Carmichael, and you're listening to the Elevated Life Podcast. Throughout the 13 years we've been together, we've never ceased in our endless quest to better ourselves.
We've studied top experts, philosophers, and gurus. After years of personal self-experimentation, we found the tools for shifting your beliefs, moving through fears, and developing a positive mindset.
If you're ready for a breakthrough, then you're in the right place, because we're here to empower you to take control of your life with simple mindset shifts that create radical transformation.
We'll be diving into topics like personal growth, health, philosophy, spirituality, relationships, success, and mindfulness.
So create some space for yourself and get comfy. It's time to become the badass you were born to be.
Yeah, we just recently watched a Netflix documentary, which we've had kind of sitting in the wait list for a while, and it's all Brene Brown. If you guys have not seen Brene Brown's documentary on courage, it is phenomenal.
It's phenomenal.
And it's great because a lot of people who are fantastic writers, Brene is probably one of the best writers of the century. And if you're not reading enough in your life, go grab one of her books. Like there's something
like
about
Daring
reading,
Greatly.
Yeah. When you read someone who taps into words that you've been thinking, but you haven't known how to say, it like gives you a new perspective on life. That's why, to me, reading is one of the great things, because we can start to have a conversation or start to realize that there are other people out there who are feeling the same way that we are. And so pick up that documentary. Especially if you have a loved one, sit down, and it's only like an hour and some change. It's pretty short. It's great. It's great. So it really started this conversation with us about courage and what does it take to be courageous, and why is it so often that so many people are lacking it? And it's crazy to think of how often we're so paralyzed by fear, how that doubt does creep in and it stops us from doing literally everything. And so rather than charge forward in life and, really get up on the horse that we know ride, instead we kind of stay back on the sidelines and we forget that no one's going to pull us into the game. It's going to take us having all of those limitations and all that negative self-talk that we hear all the time. Yeah. And I think one of the biggest confusions is a lot of people think about courage as something that happens in extraordinary moments. It's like, it's the person who runs into the burning building and saves all the kids and stuff, or the person
I'm a firefighter, or I saved someone from a bullet or a barking dog, like a vicious dog,
So we think of it in terms of that, but truthfully, courage is one of those things that we have to be doing on a daily basis. It's in the small tasks. It's in telling people, hey, what you're saying is really racist, and I'm not into that. It's standing up for yourself. It's starting to set boundaries. Like, that's where the real courage comes in. It's great if you get an opportunity to save somebody's life. Like, that's fantastic, but the life you really need to be saving is your own.
Courage really is having the vulnerability to speak your truth at all points in life, no matter who you're up against, no matter how scary the consequences are, no matter what the repercussions are, or the fear of judgment and criticism that other people might have if you speak your truth. Vulnerability and courage are one and the same. You cannot be courageous without being vulnerable, because you tap into a place where you are motivated to make a change. You're willing to express your truth and your emotions and your ideas, and you have the courage to do it with confidence, knowing that what other people have to say about you is just a reflection of their own self-judgment and their own criticism. Yeah,
it's amazing. We celebrated our 9th year wedding anniversary last week, and a lot of people always ask, when we talk to them, they're like, well, how did the proposal happen? Well, what, how was it awesome? Did you flash mob? Did you do all these cool things?
We didn't have Pinterest back then. Okay, people.
Yeah. But what a lot of people don't know is the fact that Britt actually proposed to me. It wasn't
twice.
It wasn't the other way, twice. And I said no both times. So
he said maybe on the second time.
Think about that for a second, though. Think about being across from the person that you love, who is your dream person, who you say, this is the person I want to spend my life with. They matter so much to me that I'm willing to forego all the other opportunities that I could have for this person, and for that person to look across from you and say,
while she's on one knee,
I'm not into it. Just nope, that won't be a thing. And what's interesting is that, do you realize how much courage that took me to say? So often it's easy to fall prey to placating people, to diminishing what our own personal needs and wants are for another person, especially if we care about them. But for me, it took courage too, to say no, to stand up for what I believe in, because I wasn't at a maturity level. I wasn't at a space in my life where that's what I wanted. And so for me, she had to stand up and do what was right for her. And I had to come back and stand up and do what was right for me. It takes massive, intense courage. And then I proposed.
Even if fear was stopping him from letting love in.
It's always going to be fear. It's always going to be fear. And we forget, without courage, love's not a possibility. Because, as Brené talks about a ton in the documentary, about a lot of her research and stuff is on vulnerability. We have to be vulnerable. We have to take all the things that we feel inside and be able to express them, because without that, so much of our life and so much of what we say to people and so many of our encounters and our work life and everything is just a total lie. Because when we don't show up, how can we expect the other person to love us for who we are? Because they have not met us, because we are unable or are too afraid to show them exactly what is on that inside.
Many years ago, I went to this woo-woo massage therapist, and she placed her hand on my womb and she said, "You are here to birth courage." And that's a big responsibility, because so many people are living in a state of fear and self-doubt. But I took it upon my mission. I am here to birth courage. I am here to be a peaceful light worker who loves the shit out of herself and is going after her wild and crazy dreams, despite the fear, despite the judgment and the doubt from other people, or even the self-doubt. I have committed my life to showing up as my authentic self. And to me, that is what she meant by being courageous and birthing courage, is to constantly show up as who I authentically am, staying true to my authentic essence, and being able to communicate my thoughts and ideas without worry or judgment of other people. So many people get stopped in their tracks from sharing their dreams or fulfilling their soul mission because they're so afraid of what other people are going to say about them. And here's the truth. People are already judging you no matter what. So they're judging you if you're wearing a mask, or they're judging you if you show up in your naked truth. So you might as well have the freedom for yourself to show up as your authentic self, because you're being judged no matter what. So if your excuse is, "I'm so afraid what people will think," they're already judging you for not taking the action. So you might as well take the one that is in alignment with your soul.
Yeah, what I like to do sometimes, if you want to really see what happens, get on Amazon, get on the reviews, and sort by most. Go find whatever book or whatever movie or whatever thing you love, whatever product you use that you love, look at it on there and sort by negative reviews and read what people say. It's astonishing the amount of hate that people spill out on the internet. And you realize that hurt people hurt people. And so a lot of times when people can't be courageous themselves, when they're not actually in the game, when they're not actually doing anything in their lives, when they're not going after their dreams, they love to sit by and talk about yours. And the deal is that so many of us with the fear and everything think that one day the fear will go away. We're going to figure out how to beat fear. And then we're going to be able to do all the things that we want to do. And the truth about it is that never happens. It just doesn't. Maybe you do it often enough that you don't care anymore. But the reality is that courage happens when the fear comes up and you just do it. You just still get out there. You still put herself out there, not that one time, but twice. To be told no on a proposal, I'm surprised we're still here. But
I'm determined.
It's that level of courage. She did not care what my answer was. And that to me is real courage, is if you can't get the outcome you expect, but you continue to go after that dream with the persistence. That's the big deal. BRIT is the epitome of tenacity, and how much she will charge forward on a thing, no matter how many doors get shut, no matter how many no's it is. It's phenomenal. And that's the kind of characteristic that you have to develop within yourself. If your dream means anything to you, if you wake up in the morning thinking about it, if you can't stop telling your partner about it, if you can't stop thinking about it all the time, you've got to go after it. That's your thing. And don't let anyone stand in the way. Not your family, not your best friend. None of that matters. If that dream lights up inside of you, it's yours. Go after that. Forget about the fear. Just keep freaking moving forward.
If you allow someone else's no to stop you from going after dreams, and you've given your power to them, and they clearly don't have your best interest. So it's really important for you to stop looking for permission or approval from anyone else, whether it's your spouse, the president, your mama, it doesn't matter. It's called self-worth, self-love, self-care, because you are responsible for you and the choices that you make. So here's the thing. If you want to be courageous, you have to ask the question, Who am I and what am I here to contribute? That is one of the most courageous questions you can ever ask yourself, because that sparks the inward journey of self-discovery. And when we have the courage to look inward at our darkness instead of hiding from our past, our pain, the fears and the doubts, then that's when we can make the courageous change. We won't overcome our darkness if we don't have the courage to look at it. So it's so important for you to have the courage to say, you know what? The past is over. The pain from it isn't as strong as it would be if I just took a moment to look back from a higher perspective. The past is over. You don't have to relive it, but you do have to heal it.
Dang.
I'm just saying.
The truth bombs coming out on a Friday.
Oh,
I
man.
love it.
I have a question for you. Like, in what area of your life do you feel like stuck where you aren't being courageous? And if you had a little bit more courage, you'd probably take an action step. Maybe that action step is to finally speak up or divorce a client. One of my coaching clients just divorced one of her clients after many, many years of not wanting to work with her anymore, but she continued to people please. She continued to suffer every time she serviced this client. She continued to not show up 100% for that client because she didn't want to do it. It wasn't authentic to her. And after hiring me as a coach, I said, it's time to divorce her. It's time to let it go by Friday. Guess what? She did it last night. She said, I feel that freedom. So what courageous action could you take right now that would help you to feel more confident in going after your dreams or in yourself, or to allow that freedom that you've been
into our natural world? So ask yourself that. What would I still do if I knew I was going to fail a bunch of times? What would I still kick ass at? What would still excite me? What would I still go after? Because our relationship is one of those things that BRIT continued to fight for, despite the fact that, here I was being the obstacle. But we are here, and it's been such a beautiful time. It's true, though. I mean, without her brute force action, I mean, it would have never
failed my way to success, people.
So look at your life. Where have you been cutting yourself short? There's an old Michelangelo quote where he talks about it's not that we set our aim too high and fall short. It's that we set our aim too low and hit it. So where have you been setting your aim too low in life? And if you were able to infuse yourself with a little more courage, if you were just to believe in yourself for 15 more seconds, what is it that you would go after? Mm-hmm. What would you do? And how would it change you?
Yeah, leave that in the comments below, because I want to hold you accountable to taking that courageous action, because I know that accountability and support is the number one thing that we need in our life, to know that we're not alone on this journey, which is why we show up here every Friday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time for the Elevated Life series. It's why we created the membership club, so we could dive deeper on these topics and hold you accountable for coaching and inspiration and empowerment to go after your wild and crazy dreams. Because people, if you are here listening to this message, one, it is not by coincidence, and two, you have a damn amazing gift to share with the world. And if you're not sharing it, if you're doubting yourself, then you're doing the world a disservice. And I think this is why we are on mission to remind you that you have a beautiful light to shine, that you have confidence, courage, creativity, all of this to contribute to the world, but it's about us building up to it. We have to overcome the fear. We have to overcome the darkness, overcome the doubts. We don't just wake up and we're like, okay, let's do it. Like, no, that's not how culture has brought us up, but we can make a change, and we can shift the way that this society and this culture works. And we can teach the children that you can believe in yourself and that you can go after your dreams from the get-go. Right now, we are caught in a culture that says, nope, go 9 to 5, go to college, get in debt, be miserable, get married, have babies. And a lot of people I talk to don't really want that life. So what I am here to do is to break the mold and say, you don't have to do it the way that your mom did it or your grandma did it or that they're doing it. I posted a quote today that says, as light workers, we came here not to create something that's been done before. We came to create something that was unique, because this world needs change. And you are a change maker if you are here watching this video. So thank you for being a part of this elevated life and being someone who has courage to shine light in a world full of darkness.
Boom.
Bam. Thank you so much for tuning in
Happy
here
Friday,
on Friday for the Elevated Life series. If you know someone who would love this message, who needs a little bit of courage or empowerment, please tag them in the comments below, share the video, spread the good vibe.
Yeah,
the good vibes.
Let them know you believe in them. Because a lot of times the reason why we're not able to go after all the stuff that we want is because we haven't had that one person or anybody just come in and say, like, look, I believe in you. You got this. You're capable. You can do it. I heard your dream. I know. I've seen your vision. Go for it. So take whatever best friend you have, or your kid, or your spouse, partner, or whatever, and tell them, I believe in you. I want to see you act courageously. I know you can do this. And watch the amount of change that happens. It will be phenomenal. It'll be like something you've never, ever seen before. Because people, when someone has someone else believe in them and they start to believe in themselves too, the amount of potential and possibility in their life is limitless.
So what courageous action are you going to take today? Leave that in the comments below so we can celebrate you at the end of the day, knowing that you made a decision, a courageous decision today to say, okay, fear, I see you. Like I tell my clients, just tell it to get on in the back seat and come along with you, because fear is coming up along the journey no matter what. Like Chris said earlier, even Adele says she still gets on stage and has so much fear that she throws up before performing. Someone that's that talented still has fear come up. So here's the truth. Fear doesn't disappear, but you can no longer be paralyzed by it once you have the awareness and the realization that fear is just a thought. And it's a thought that says, I'm not good enough, it's not possible, I'm not worthy. When you decide that you're worthy, that you have the confidence and courage to go after those dreams, and it takes time, people, it takes time, one step at a time, one courageous decision at a time, then you'll realize too that fear is just a decision that you're tuning into when you could choose courage.
Yeah.
Hot damn today.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you so much for tuning
smokes.
in. We love you so much. Thank you for your support here on the Elevated Life series. We will catch you guys on Friday next week at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And we hope you have a wonderful weekend. Go out there and do something courageous, because the world needs your beautiful light. Bye.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Elevated Life podcast. Want more? Join us at theelevatedlifeclub.com for mindset upgrades, lifestyle hacks, and spiritual tools to elevate your soul.
Each month features a new masterclass, meditation, yoga practice, and more to help you transform your life one step at a time.
Come join the 7 or Above Club.